What's up, guys? GK here with Corbin's Archery. Today, me and Branch are going to break down our bow builds for 2024. This is what we would typically run. This is what I'm running this year. We do get a lot of questions and people asking, hey, what do y'all run and why? What do y'all prefer? Kind of help them lead into a decision. Being a bow tech and a bow shop manager and stuff, you get the privilege of seeing different builds and why people run certain things, and you kind of can build a list in your mind of pros and cons. And this just kind of helps us lead us to our decision, so we get to run some good stuff. I'm changing it up completely this year. I'm going with the shorter axle to axle. I'm running the Mathews Lift 29.5. I've always been a 33 guy, the Phase 4, the V3X. I shot the Hoyt VTM 34 last year for a little bit. Always love the longer axle to axle, just feels really comfortable. This year I wanted to change it up with my hunt plans. I haven't drawn anything out west yet, so I know for sure the only hunts I have are going to be, Midwest whitetail Missouri, maybe some Kansas tree stand hunting, stuff like that. So kind of wanted to go with that shorter compact bow anyways for those situations. But this is still a bow I'm confident in if I end up getting lucky enough to draw a spot and stock hunt out west or whatever. The 29.5, it feels a little bit longer than your shorter axle to axle bows, mainly because this riser goes up into the limb pockets a little bit deeper. So it feels like you're holding more riser of the bow, and it's very, very stable for being a shorter axle to axle. Now with your short axle to axle, you'll tend to see a little bit lighter and a little bit more speed. So that's kind of why I'm liking about the 29.5. A little bit lighter, a little bit faster. But I have noticed one drawback. It's a little too light for me sometimes, especially out in the wind. Being so light in this West Texas wind, it wants to move around a little bit. So onto the stabilizer setups to counteract that, I've added 3 bridge lock weights on my 10-inch bar. I normally run the stock 2 ounces, on your 10-inch and call it good. This year I've added an extra one up front, just to kind of slow down that sight moving a little bit. Going down, I've never ran a back bar, never had to on my 33s. They've always been really, really balanced. But running an 8-inch on the back with just one weight, just to kind of steady that bubble out a little bit and kind of counterbalance that quiver weight, just to get that bubble in the center a little bit faster. That's the stabilizer setup I'm rocking this year on my Lift 29.5. Still a very light bow, which I'm loving. Moving on to the rest. Q80 MX2. I've always ran Q80 stuff. I have tinkered with Hamskea in the past. I do like a limb-driven rest, but with Q80, I like the full containment. I can flick this rest up. My arrow stays in the upright position, locked, ready to shoot, ready to go. Never had an issue. I'm gonna knock on wood because I'm, probably gonna curse myself here, but I've never had an issue with Q80 in the 8-ish years I ran them. This cord has never pulled out. I've never had a malfunction where that rest slapped down, it came back up on me, or didn't fall down or anything like that. If it's set up properly, you shouldn't have an issue. Q80 is really good about their stuff. This year on the MX2, it's just like their integrated from the past. Still got the micro adjust, but instead of felt on the side, they've added this rubber dampener where you can customize, your color, but it also quietens it down, and you don't have to worry about felt as much. So that's good. So running the MX2, I do like the Hamskea. I have tinkered with them in the past. I do like a limb driven. I just wish I could get one that stays in that lock position where I'm, stalking around, it's not rattling. But for now, Q80s, that's what I'm rocking with. I have a lot of confidence, a lot of faith in their rest. Moving on to the sight. Running HHA again this year, but just a different look. This is the HHA Texture-Rise X3. So this is a 3-pin horizontal, but what I like about it is each pin has its own yardage indicator, which is huge. So when I go to rover this side out to deeper yardages, I get a fresh set of yardages. 3 brand new yardages, which is awesome. Still with their deadlock system here that, gets your 0, gets right back to the top of 20, locks it down. Thing I love about HHA, I think they have the smoothest wheel out there. I love their wheels. Micro adjustable, easy to set up as far as axes. Sight tapes are normally spot on. Haven't had an issue there. Just an all-around well-built sight. So those guys at HHA have figured it out. Liking the X3. Again, I'm a 3-pin vertical kind of guy, so if they make one where I can, maneuver all 3 pins, that would be my deal. But for right now, 3-pin horizontal on the X3, I'm liking this. It's set at 20, 30, 40 for me, and then when I rover, I get 3 brand new yardages, which is awesome. Let's see, moving on. Oh, the EXO limb legs, of course. Can't forget about the best accessory Mathews has ever made, the limb legs. I haven't decided what I'm going to do on the grip this year, personally. I haven't been a fan of Mathews grips in the past. I'll just be honest with y'all straight up front. I've never liked their grips. This year it's a little bit wider and a little bit flatter. So it's not bad to me. I'll probably end up slapping an Ultra UB Real 2.0 on there. I just like that steep angle, I like the flat back, just something I get confident in and I can stabilize pretty quick. But for now, this Engage one is not bad at all. So let's see, we covered everything. Oh, the quiver. This is a 5-arrow quiver. This is the Low Pro Detach. I like the detach just so I can take it off when I'm working on stuff, but it rarely leaves my bow. I always kind of set this up how I would be in a hunting situation. So 5 arrow quiver, but I only have 4 outs because that 5th one's always going to be gone when I'm hunting. I mean, I'm not going to be having 5 arrows in here with another one knocked, if that makes sense. So I take that one out just to counterbalance or just to simulate the correct weight and get the feel for it. So 4 arrows always in the quiver. Like the low pro detach, but it stays on the whole time. I have thought about just going to the non-detach, but then I'd have to take some pieces off if I'm working on bows or whatever. I like the detachable. It's just easy to take off, but you don't have to take it off, and I'm not really worried. There's not enough weight to justify going to that to me. So moving on, arrow setups. I'm tinkering right now just because we got TAC coming up. This is what I'm running at TAC, Easton Axis 5 mil with a hybrid HP 3 fletch max helical to the left. Basic hit insert with a 100 grain tip. This is just a TAC arrow. I had a bunch of these lying around, so I made them into TAC arrows. Weighing about 413, so 413 grain arrow at a 28.5 inch draw, 67-ish pounds. I'm pushing right about 298, 299, which is plenty. I'm getting a ton of clearance. I think my bottom pin goes out to 130, so tons of clearance for TAC. For my hunts this year, I'll be running something similar to this, if not this exact arrow. This is the Easton Axis 4 mil long range match grade. I like the match grades this year because they come with the hybrid 26s from AAE, and they also have the new outsert component system in 55 grains. Then you can beef it up to the stainless steel and the titaniums like 75, 100, and tinker with a lot of weight. So right now for TAC it's that 5 mil, but this is something I'll probably be running for my hunt. If not this, something similar like the VAP SS, VAP TKO. I'm a 4 mil guy when it comes to hunting, but I have a feeling I'll be running the long ranges coming up. Moving on to the handheld releases, I've gone fully handheld this year. UV thumb button, one I've been playing with. Also been trying out the Carter Whisper 2. It's a little bit different, a little bit quieter of a button, which I like, but it has a shorter neck, so it's a little bit different anchor point. You can see this hook. I mean, that hook's right onto the D-loop versus the Ultra View one. Way longer neck. So I've been playing with that. Also been liking the Stan Onyx clicker. I'm liking how I can kind of feel that click through my shot process. I don't know if I'd like it when I'm hunting, but for practicing and stuff, I'm liking that click. Just kind of lets me know where I'm at. So this is my setup for 2024. Nothing really is going to change except maybe an arrow build and maybe what release I go with, and then maybe stabilizers, but we'll see what weight I decide to settle on. But as far as the bow, the rest, the sight, the whole deal, that's kind of where I'll stick. I'll end up bumping this up to about 70 to 72 pounds. That's what I run when I'm hunting. And then my arrow weight, regardless of what arrow I go with, I'm going to be in between that 427 to 455 range. That's kind of what I like to run in between. If I draw an elk or something, I might beef it up a little bit more, but I'm confident in everything between 430 to 455. I've killed some stuff with all those weights, and I'm confident in it. I know how it flights. I like that arrow build and kind of that weight. It's a good happy place for me. But we'll see. I like to tinker with arrows, tinker with releases, but as far as the setup, this stuff's not changing. I'm very, very happy with the 29.5 this year so far. But Branch has a totally different hunt in January, spot and stalk and mule deer, so his setup's going to be completely different, and he's a target shooter as well out of his bow. So let's kick it over to Branch and see what he's running for 2024.
What's up, guys? I'm Branch, and I'm going to be giving y'all a quick rundown of what I run on my bow and why. So first things first, I'm running the Lift 33. I really like the 33. It tends to hold a little bit better for me. Got a really smooth draw cycle. I'm shooting it at 28.5 inches at 70 pounds. And with my current arrow setup, shooting about 290. So just a really quick bow, holds super good, draws super well. I just really love shooting this bow, so that's why I went with the 33. Just a great all-around bow. In terms of sight, right now I've got an Excel on here. I'll probably be running a black gold. I like the black gold just in terms of simplicity. They seem to be a little bit more durable, but I'll always have at least 3 pins in my sight. I like that for hunting purposes, to have at least out to 40 yards without having to move my sight. So I'll always have more than probably about 3 to 5 pins is somewhere in there. In terms of my rest, I like to run a Hamskea rest. I feel like they're a little bit more forgiving of a rest, a little bit more accurate, a little bit more of a bulletproof design, but they don't have the containment of of like your QAD. I did felt this up, so it still has the full containment, so it's not, your arrow's not going to fall out or anything. I went ahead and felted this up to quiet it up because it will rattle a little bit more than like your QAD, but I kind of like the simplicity of the QAD or the Hamskea, the same as like why I like a Black Gold. Just sometimes I feel simple is better, and that's why I like to run some of those things. On my bars, I have a 10-inch Mountain Series on the front, an 8-inch on the back. I like to run 5 ounces front and back. That's what this bow likes. That's what holds really good for me. Balances really well. I want my bow to hold pretty steady up and down. I don't want a bow that likes to really tip. That kind of just messes with me. I don't shoot it very good. I also want it to hold good left and right. So I tend to like a back bar. That's just kind of what I tend to go with. When I set a bow up, it's hard for me to not want to run a back bar. Just feels really good to me. In terms of peep, right now I've just got it in a simple 3/16 peep. I like it, lets a lot of light in when it gets darker in those hunting situations. So just a real simple design peep, lets some light in. Really can see that around my peep, my housing really clearly. In terms of D-loop, just run, in terms of my knock set, I just run a bottom knock set. So not as common, but it does push this the angle of this release a little bit higher up into your face. It kind of feels a little bit better to me, gets into that jaw a little bit better, helps me to be a little bit more consistent in my anchor point with my release. So I just run a bottom knock set. I don't tend to run one on top, just a bottom one to kind of change the anchor point on that feel. In terms of arrows, right now I'm testing out a 4-fletch tack vane 2.25 with a left offset. And this is an Easton X10 Parallel Pro arrow, so a 4mm skinny arrow, flies super good, super fast. I've got a 50 grain outsert on there with a 100 grain field tip. I've got this set up for tack. Now, for my mule deer hunt in January, I'll probably be running a 75 grain outsert on there just to get a little bit more weight up. Right now, this arrow is weighing about 411, so with that, with extra 25 grains being about 435-ish. 436, so just get it a little bit more heavy up in the front, get a little bit more front of center, help it penetrate a little bit better. So you'll probably catch me with the 75 in the front, still running with that 100 grain field tip. I really like the 4-fletch right now, just kind of testing it out. I do want to test it out compared to like a Max Helical at some point, but trying this out for now during tack season, seeing what I think about it. So really like this arrow. This is what I'll be running for mule deer, whitetail. Just a really good flying arrow, just shoots super good. Wind doesn't affect it as much as like your bigger arrows, so, and it just penetrates really good. So really liking these arrows so far. Very comparable to like your 4mm match grade arrow that Easton makes as well. So in terms of release, now I do run a hinge. I run the hinge for target, for hunting. That's just what I run. So I'm super confident in the hinge. Have no issues pre-firing this or punching myself in the face. I've shot this release so much. I'm so comfortable with this. I'm honestly way more comfortable with this than any other release. I just make a better shot. So I just find it, to me, being accurate is super important to me, so I want whatever I feel the most accurate with, and that's a hinge. I feel like if I can't get my shot off in the time when I'm working through my hinge, that I probably shouldn't take the shot anyways, so I'm not too concerned with not having that opportunity to get that shot off quick. I want to make a good, clean shot, ethical shot. Now I do have a click, so it does click. I haven't had any animals spook from that. I don't think that noise really scares them. I think if anything, their ears may perk up, but they're not going to spook off just from the sound of the click. So really like my hinge. It's what you always catch me shooting most likely. It's hard for me to go away from it. I've tried. I just shoot it good, and I'm super comfortable with it. But that's kind of it for my setup. So really liking it. I do have the match grade strings on here. I'm trying them out. I've been super duper impressed. I love that Mathews came with a good set of strings. It just really helps the overall consumer when you purchase a top of the line bow to have a good set of strings on there. So haven't had a need to change them or a want to change them. I've really liked these strings, been super impressed with those. But other than that, the only other accessory I'd talk about is the Engage XO limb legs. If you have a Mathews, and you don't have these on there, I highly suggest it. This is like one of those accessories. If you don't have it on there, you wish you had it on there. So I really like this. Makes it super easy. Went turkey hunting this weekend. Kind of just set it next to me in the pop-up blind. Super simple. Didn't have to worry about it getting in the mud or anything. It's super muddy, but so just a great accessory. Always have it on my bow. I didn't realize I'd keep it on there, but doesn't affect how I hold. If anything, it might help a little bit just by adding a little bit of weight to the bow. But yeah, so that's my setup for 2024 so far, and thank y'all.
We appreciate y'all sticking around and watching. If y'all have any videos ideas, just drop them down in the comments below. We'll get to them and knock them out, and just let us know what y'all like to see us shoot. Also, on our website, we have a bunch of cool Corbin's Archery merch, brand new caps, different designs and colors and all that. We'll link them down below, but go to our website and get these hats before they're all gone. Also, for updated news on giveaways and shop updates and stuff like that, on Instagram, go to Corbin's Archery, and then also make sure you're following Corbin's Archery LBK. It's our Lubbock page. Do a bunch of giveaways and news and stuff like that on both pages, so make sure you're following there. Really appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't yet, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.